So I just heard on the news yesterday that Vangelis died. It's like losing an old friend. The internet, and I'm sure YouTube, will be filled with tributes and homages to the man and his music. I thought it would be fitting, perhaps, for us, you and me, to share some personal memories of the man and his music. Now, I realise that not many of us will have had the opportunity to actually meet him. I certainly didn't, but I do remember the first time I encountered his music and the effect it had on me, and that is what I would like to share with you, and I hope you will share your experiences and memories of that with the rest of us. My first meeting with Vangelis and his music was his album Spiral. Now, this was released in 1977. I think it was probably a couple of years after that I actually bought it. I can't remember if it was recommended to me by a friend or if I found it by chance while browsing through the albums in a music shop. Now, this was before the days of computers, before the days of streaming. The only way we could find out about music was through magazine reviews and through going into record shops and listening to it. But anyway, I bought the album, I brought it home, and I played it. And the title track, Spiral, with its cascading and spiraling arpeggios, just absolutely blew me away. Now, this was the late 70s, and although I was madly keen on electronic music, synthesizers were expensive and thin on the ground. But hearing Spiral, the album, and realizing that synthesizers could make music like this was an absolute inspiration. And then I did what I think most of us did back then. I had found an artist and his music which I absolutely loved, so I went back to the record store to see if I could find more albums by the same artist, and I did buy Heaven and Hell, which I think was his first major UK release. I don't think it was his first album. And I also bought Albedo. And going forward, he released many more albums, and I think I bought most of them, and they were all an absolute delight and wonder. Now, one thing which I think is quite interesting about this is I think of some of the other artists who I really like, and I struggle to remember when I first heard them or heard their music. So Spiral and Vangelis obviously made a massive impression on me, which has lasted through to the present day. I've been listening to his music now for over 50 years. I suspect Vangelis will be remembered by the populace at large, if you like, for his music Chariots of Fire. And this is also one of the reasons why I absolutely love his music. It is so melodic. He writes good tunes. Another one of his great tunes, which I absolutely love, is the theme from 1492 Conquest of Paradise. I will see if I can leave some links to these in the description. That is such an evocative and memorable piece. Now, I know a lot of musicians, particularly those interested in synthesizers and electronic music, are also interested in science fiction, and this is also one of my favourite genres. And of course, for many of us, mention the name Vangelis, and we tend to think of the Blade Runner movie and his music for that, which was a defining moment again for me in movie making history. It was a science fiction movie with a science fiction soundtrack, and together the whole thing came together absolutely brilliantly. And I think Blade Runner was possibly one of the movies which propelled him into his score writing career. Talking of melodies, some of my favourite albums were produced by Vangelis in collaboration with John Anderson of Yes. I think it is a superb pairing, and one of my favourite albums and tracks from that collaboration is Friends of Mr. Cairo. Again, I'll see if I can leave a link in the description. So that's just a few thoughts which come to mind when I think of Vangelis and his music. If you have any memories of the man and his music and what it means to you, then I would be delighted if you would share that in the comments. So Vangelis, thank you for your wonderful music, which was an inspiration to me back in the 70s and which still continues to be an inspiration today. You will really be missed.